Hi, this is Mr. Beckstrom, and today we're going to be looking at section 2.5. This is on graphing techniques and transformations, and basically what we're going to do here is we're going to write this function that's both reflected across the y-axis, and then again we're going to write it reflected across the x-axis. And then I also want to use my calculator to check my solutions just to make sure that the graph looks correct. So the function here is y is equal to x plus 2. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my calculator and go to y equals, I'm going to do x plus 2. And if we go to zoom standard, we can see that just kind of looks like a line here, just like that. So if this thing is, first of all, reflected across the y-axis, it should be kind of moving down like this. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have y is equal to x plus 2. And to reflect a function across the y-axis, what we do is we go into the function and we replace x with a negative x. So I'm going to write the same function here, and I'm just going to replace x with a negative x plus 2. And I can just remove those parentheses, and I get y is equal to negative x plus 2. And let's put that in our calculator and see what it looks like. So we're going to go down in the second y equals there. We're going to do negative x plus 2. Enter and graph, and sure enough, it's what I expected. This thing is reflected directly across the y-axis. So any point over on one side will now be on the other side of the y-axis in the same direction and same distance. Alright, so the last thing I want to do is reflect this across the x-axis. So in order to reflect across the x-axis, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply the entire function by a negative. So this is, I'll kind of write down here, y-axis, axis. And for the x-axis, we're going to say y is equal to, we're going to multiply the whole thing by a negative. And when we distribute that, we should get y is equal to negative x, and we distribute that minus here, so minus times a plus is a minus. That's going to be minus 2. And this is across the x-axis. So very similar, except over here we had a plus 2 and over here we had a minus 2. So now let's put that in our calculator under the y3, and we're going to get a negative x minus 2. And we go ahead and graph that. And what we can see here is the original function is in blue. So now any point on this original function here, if you go down to the x-axis and then go that same distance again, you're going to find that point on the other side of the x-axis. So this function here is now reflected across the x-axis. And that's it, and it works with any function like that. So for reflecting across the y-axis, we're just going to replace the x with the negative x, and with reflecting across the x-axis, we're just going to multiply really f of x by a negative, which is just multiplying the entire function by a negative. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks.